I know we're still recovering from the end of Bluey's third season, but take a deep breath because something big is on the way. Joe Brumm and the entire team just announced that a Bluey movie is in the works. Finally, right? Wow, they're finally making a Bluey movie. After 3 seasons, it seems like making a movie is the next natural step. Especially after Joe Brumm mentioned that he had stepped away from the series for a bit and needed to work on another project to reset his mind. The timing feels perfect for everything to fall into place, especially because the entire original team, including the actors, will return to work on the movie with the same love and care as if it were a regular episode they're used to making. But even though this announcement is amazing news on its own, no information has been released yet about the plot or what will happen in the movie, or even its duration. So many questions are still floating around, and fans are rolling on the floor, wanting answers immediately. You know what time it is. Grab your popcorn, get comfy in your chair, because here comes another extra special Bluey Theories video here on the Zigzag Channel. One of the easiest options Ludo has for this movie would be to show what happened to the characters after the sign. One of the things I was most disappointed about with the episode that followed was that it was just another regular episode, as if nothing from the sign had happened. In my mind, it feels like the sign should have been the season's final episode, but for some reason, they switched it with surprise and ended the season that way. It's still super cool to have the surprise, pun intended, of seeing adult Bluey at the end, but the sign closes so many arcs while leaving other things open, making it the perfect ending, especially when you consider that Joe Brumm said the sign was written with the intention of being his farewell to Bluey, in case he couldn't write a 4th season as good as the 3rd, so the movie could pick up where that episode left off. What happened with Bandit? Not selling the house would mean he didn't take the job promotion. How are Rad and Frisky doing after getting married? We only got a taste of seeing them together when they were still dating in the Christmas Swim episode, but nothing after their wedding. Would Bandit have to confront his school bully, who was the seller of his house? As you can see, there are plenty of unanswered questions that the movie could explore. You know something else you can explore? Clicking the subscribe button and turning on notification bells in 3 seconds. If you managed it, write "I did it" in the comments so we can give you a shout out and a heart on your comment. Another approach the movie could take is to be completely isolated from any ongoing events between Bluey's seasons and include a time skip. In the episode with Jean-Luc, we see a significant final scene. Teenage Bluey picks up a book to read under the shade of the tree she and her friend planted during childhood. This scene reveals an important detail about her character. Bluey has a habit of reading, but what kind of books might Bluey prefer? From a young age, she showed herself to be extremely creative, and since teenagers don't play the same way kids do, it's likely that her creativity now finds a home in her mind. Books are an excellent channel to explore this imagination. Furthermore, entertainment like movies, series, video games, and YouTube videos could also fuel this creative side. Adolescence is full of internal dilemmas and intense emotions, and Bluey, like any other teen, might be experiencing this phase in her own unique way. Reading could be the way she processes everything she feels and better understands the world around her. And I bring this up because it would be interesting for a movie like this to address one of the biggest questions we have due to the time skip to adult Bluey in the final episode of the last season, which is Bluey's love life. Some theories are already suggesting possibilities about who her future partner might be. For example, some people imagine that Jean-Luc, her childhood friend, might play an important role in this story. After all, he now speaks English and could build a deeper friendship with Bluey. Could he have moved to Australia permanently? Or is he just visiting? Or perhaps Bluey will travel to France to get to know him better in his native environment. On the other hand, there's Mackenzie, a friend who is much more present in her life throughout the episodes. Unlike the brief encounter with Jean-Luc, Mackenzie appears frequently and seems to be a great companion for Bluey, as they attend the same school and likely grew up together. Could he be the more likely match The possibilities are endless, and the movie could surprise us in ways we can't even imagine yet. It will be amazing to see how Bluey's transition to adolescence and the new challenges of this phase of life are explored on the big screen. One of the most powerful things they could do is give Aunt Brandy more screen time. I don't think making her the protagonist of the movie would be a good idea, but the central plot of the film could definitely revolve around her. If you remember, there's a moment in the sign where we see her pregnant. It's an extremely quick scene. Blink and you'll miss it. But it's also very significant because, if you recall, Brandy's personal drama revolved around her struggles to get pregnant. Having a movie centered on this drama to bring that touch of reality, which Bluey handles with such mastery, would be the perfect move to make everyone leave the theater in tears. Brandy lives far from Bluey's house, which could turn the movie into a family road trip story, where they're all trying to make it to the hospital in time to see the birth of the newest member of the Healer family. This setup could include the entire main family cast: Bluey, Bingo, Bandit, and Chili, along with Rad, Bandit's brother, and by extension, Frisky, who is now part of the family as well. Not to mention Bandit's other brother and his family, Stripe, Trixie, Muffin, and Socks. Can you imagine this whole crew traveling together? The chaos it would be? I can already picture the entire theater laughing at how Muffin would turn the trip into total mayhem. On top of all that, we'd get the introduction of a brand new character, Brandy's husband, about whom we know absolutely nothing. With that in mind, another possibility for the movie would be to have a slightly greater focus on the adults. Since we're talking about Chili's sister finally having a child after struggling to get pregnant, this could be a concern for her, because from the episode The Show, we already know that Chili lost her first child before Bluey. Maybe it's a genetic problem that could complicate the pregnancy? All of this, on top of the drama involving Bandit and his job that we mentioned earlier. What will happen to his old position now that he's rejected the promotion? Will they just let him go back to where he was and put someone else in the new role? Another thing that could come up as secondary drama, but deserves a little more screen time, is the relationship between Stripe and Trixie. As we often see moments of them arguing in front of others, how would it be for them to be confined to a car and stuck in the road trip situation with Muffin and the rest of the family if things aren't going well between them? And all of this could also serve as a contrast to prepare Rad and Frisky, who are newly married, to see the future that awaits them. As this way, the movie would deal with all the possible themes that a couple can go through. The arrival of a new family member, possible pregnancy issues, professional insecurity, marital problems, and chaotic children. Because we have to remember that all the girls will be in the middle of all this. But since Joe Brumm is the master of turning things upside down, if this were the plot of the movie, I'm sure he'd be able to resolve all these problems and show us the good side of it all, with a beautiful tear-jerking ending. And if you're also curious about how the movie will unfold, or want to find friends to watch the movie with, join our Discord community, only for those over 13 years old. Another important goal that the Bluey movie could achieve has less to do with the characters from the show and more to do with the real people behind all of them. Joe Brumm said in a recent open letter on the official Bluey website that he is having creative difficulties connecting with the universe of 4 to 6-year-olds, and that he had written The Show as a way of closing his involvement with the series. Between the concern of not being able to write a 4th season better than the previous one and his work on another unannounced project, this movie could open up 2 possibilities. The first would be that writing and directing this movie helps him reconnect with Bluey and its universe to clear his mind and be able to create another amazing season of Bluey for the fans. Or the second, which no one here is too fond of, is he could truly retire as the official writer of the series and perhaps end the Bluey series right there, or most likely pass the torch to someone else. But since he is the creator and has literally written every single episode, I can't see this as a good option, and I would prefer it to end. And what do you think? Let us know in the comments.